So we lived out here for probably about 8 years. And my wife and I have talked about planting a garden. And every year, you can see the fields out here, every year they spray 2 to 3 times a season because they always plant corn, soybeans, those sorts of things out here. And they literally just sprayed yesterday. So we're going to test the soil today to see if there's any glyphosate in the soil, because if there's going to be any there, it's going to be there today since they just sprayed yesterday. So we're going to run this test to determine whether or not they're using glyphosate, because then that'll determine whether or not we test the soil in our yard for glyphosate, because we want to plant a garden. So in the fields around us, they use Roundup Ready Seed, and the way that works is that the seed has been genetically modified so that Roundup doesn't impact the seed. Roundup's primary active ingredient is glyphosate, and so the glyphosate, the Roundup, kills the weeds, but it doesn't kill the corn and the soybeans. And so we're going to test today for that herbicide, for Roundup, or specifically glyphosate here in this soil. Today we're going to be using our glyphosate DIY test kit. It's super easy to use. You can get results in about 5 to 10 minutes, and it tests down to 200 parts per billion of glyphosate. I think the U.S. drinking water limit is actually 700, so well below that limit. And today we're going to be using it to test for glyphosate in soil. You can use it. One of the other cool things about this kit is you can use it to test all sorts of mediums, I guess. You can test fruits and vegetables with it. You can test, like we're going to do today, you can test soil, drinking water, basically almost anything you want that you think might have glyphosate in it. So it's a great kit, and we're going to show you how great it is today. All right, so the preparation step, actually preparing your sample, is pretty easy. You're just going to collect enough soil to cover the bottom of the jar. And since we are a safe home, we just happen to have a beaker. You don't have to have a beaker. You can have any kind of cup, any kind of glass. It doesn't matter, but this is what we're using today. So I'm going to collect just enough soil to cover the bottom, and then we'll put in just enough water to go, so we're about 1 inch above that soil? Okay, cool. All right, cool. So we got our soil all collected. I'm gonna just use a fork to mix it up. Probably shouldn't use a fork that we actually eat with, but for something that potentially has glyphosate in it. And now we're gonna pour a little bit of water over top of it. In the kit, you will find instructions. If you want to do the deep dive, you can go with this. It's full-scale instructions for testing soil, for testing fruit, all the things. Today, we're going to use the fast track instructions because we're guys and we like the fast track. We don't even like to look at instructions, but today we're going to do it because we want to do this right. So we're going to use the fast track instructions, and then also, obviously, the glyphosate test is inside the box as well. Okay, so we have introduced the water into the sample, and now we're going to stir it up just to mix it thoroughly. And then we're going to let it set for 5 minutes because we want that soil to then fall back out, and so that we can actually collect some of the supernatant or the water on top of the soil for the testing. So you're going to obviously open the pouch, remove everything that's in there. You want to set the vial on a flat surface. Now we're going to draw up a little bit of volume from the top of the soil, or the top of the sample. And you can see, can you see that, Sawyer? There's been considerable separation there. It's still not perfect. It's probably going to be a very long time before it becomes perfect, right? Before all of that falls out. And quite frankly, all of it might not ever within a reasonable amount of time fall out. And so this is about where you want to get it, right here, where the top, the supernatant here is still cloudy, but most of the soil has fallen back in to the bottom of the sample. So I'm gonna draw that up. And then we want exactly, and you can see that red reagent, might be better down, that red reagent right there in the bottom of that micro vial. That's what we're after here. So we're gonna do 4 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. So we're gonna expel the rest of the sample in. Now we do this 4 times?
5 times.
Oh, sorry, 5 times. Thank you, Sawyer. So that was just a joke. So 1, 2. Actually, probably 3. 4. 5. And so if you look in the bottom of that vial, you don't see that reagent any longer, right? You're going to see a little residue of the sample that we've put in and drawn back out, but for the most part, it should be fully in solution now. So now we're going to let that set for another 2 minutes, and then we'll introduce that into the cassette. From the micro vial, we're going to draw the entirety of that sample up and then put it into this little well right here. It's extremely important. That's where the sample goes. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna let that sit for 5 minutes. So that's the control line that's currently developing, and that helps you to know that the test is actually working, that whole mechanism in there that causes these colors is actually occurring like it's supposed to.
So while this is actually developing here, were you expecting this to be positive since they were spraying your field right by your house?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's my expectation that that is what they're using is Roundup or some variant of that with glyphosate in it. So yeah, I'm fully expecting that it will be positive. If it's not, that's great, because I thought that maybe we've been getting blanketed with glyphosate for the last 8 years, and if this proves us wrong, then that's going to be a little bit of a weight off of me, right? For a number of reasons, not the least of which is we might actually be able to plant a garden in our yard, which would be pretty cool, because like I said, we're surrounded by all these farm fields. So yeah, we'll see what comes out. Okay, well, as you guys saw, the test did come back positive, or over 200 ppb, or parts per billion, for the soil in the field. And so now I'm going to test this little plot here. My wife actually just plants zinnias here in this little plot, but I'm going to test this to see if the overspray is reaching this little garden area as well. So as you can see, the second test actually came back below detection. That's a big deal. My wife and I have been talking about this ever since we moved into the house about 8 years ago. We've wanted to have a garden, but we never knew whether or not we should. We figured that the overspray from the field would be considerable. But as we see here in this comparison between the field and just this little zinnia patch that my wife does every year, there's seems to be almost no overspray. This is cool for me because I'm one of the people that help run this company, and I've never run one of our glyphosate tests like this before. And so it's cool to see that it can do more than water. It's cool to see that we can push into soil, and we can do vegetables, and we can do fruit. We can do all these different mediums and actually get some good, actionable, real data that give us the ability to make choices about our lives, right? The water we drink, the food that we eat, where we grow our food, all those things. And I didn't have to collect a water sample and send it into a lab. I was able to get results within 5 to 10 minutes, and that's a pretty phenomenal thing, especially for somebody who's so big on immediate gratification, right? I don't want to wait 10 days to get my results. And so this is good stuff. If you're wondering about glyphosate contamination in your water, in your soil, fruit, any type of food, then go out, buy one of these kits, safehome testkits.com, and start testing for glyphosate today.